The gun jammed. That was not part of the plan. Zara squeezed the trigger again. Nothing. Just the hollow click of metal refusing to obey. Her heartbeat slammed against her ribs as footsteps thundered down the hallway toward the locked room. Blood dripped from her knuckles onto the marble floor. Someone outside screamed orders in Korean. Another voice shouted her name. She tore the magazine out, hands shaking, trying to reset it. Too late. The door exploded inward. Gunfire ripped through the room. She dove sideways as bullets shredded the wall where her head had been a second before. Smoke filled her lungs. Alarms screamed. Men poured in from every direction. In the chaos, her eyes met his across the room. Kang Jae-Min. The man she was sent to kill. He wasn't aiming at her. He was shooting past her, at his own men. "Run!" he shouted. That single word shattered everything she believed. 2 minutes earlier. The plan was never to fall in love. The plan was to get close, sink her teeth into his world, and tear it apart from the inside. The plan was to watch his empire bleed the same way her family had bled. The plan was simple. Infiltrate. Seduce. Destroy. Zara had repeated it like a prayer the night she accepted the mission. She repeated it now as neon lights pulsed over her skin and bass thundered through her bones. Eclipse was alive tonight. Sweating bodies packed the dance floor. Money flashed. Champagne sprayed. Power breathed in every corner of the room. And at the center of it all sat Kang Jae-Min. He didn't dance. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. The club moved around him the way planets moved around a sun. Women leaned close, laughing too loudly, touching his arm as if it were a prize. Men bowed their heads without realizing they were doing it. Zara didn't look at him. She slid another glass across the bar with practiced ease, eyes low, face neutral. Just a bartender, just another shadow behind the counter. That was the disguise. That was how she survived. A drunk model snapped her fingers. "Hey, faster." Zara met her eyes calmly. "You'll get it when I decide you're ready." The model scoffed. "Do you know who I—" Zara leaned in slightly. "Do you know who owns this place?" The model froze. Behind her, laughter rolled low and dangerous. Zara felt it before she saw him. That shift in the air. That subtle pull of gravity. She glanced up despite herself. Kang Jae-Min was watching her. Not like the others watched her. Not hungry, not curious. Calculating. Her spine stiffened. The plan whispered in her head. Target acquired. She turned away and kept working. Minutes later, a glass slid onto the bar in front of her. Expensive whiskey, untouched. "For you," a man said. Zara didn't look up. "Not thirsty." The man didn't move. "You should be." She finally lifted her eyes. Kang Jae-Min stood inches from her, close enough that she could smell leather, smoke, and gun oil beneath the expensive cologne. His face was calm, almost bored. His dark eyes cut straight through her. "I said I'm not thirsty," she replied. A ripple of tension ran through everyone nearby. People had disappeared for saying less. Jae-Min studied her for a moment, then picked up the glass and took a slow sip. "That wasn't a request." She leaned closer, her voice soft and sharp at the same time. "Then next time, try manners." Silence. Then he laughed. It wasn't loud, it wasn't warm. It was quiet and startled, like someone hearing a sound they hadn't heard in years. The people around them looked stunned. Jae-Min tilted his head. "What's your name?" She hesitated just long enough to be real. "Zara." He nodded. "Zara." Then he turned and walked away as if she hadn't just challenged death to a staring contest. Her pulse didn't slow for a long time. That night, she stood on the roof of her apartment, rain soaking through her clothes, phone pressed to her ear. "I'm in," she said. A distorted voice answered. "And the target?" She looked out over the city lights. "Exactly where I need him." "Do not improvise," the voice warned. "You make him fall for you. Then you kill him, slowly." Her jaw tightened. "I know the mission. You know the cost if you fail." The call disconnected. Below her, Lightning split the sky. In its flash, Zara saw again the blood, the bodies, the flames. She closed her eyes. The next time she saw Jae-Min up close, a knife was pressed discreetly against her ribs. She didn't flinch. They stood in a dark hallway behind the club, music vibrating through the walls. One of his men held the blade steady, while another searched her pockets. Zara kept her breathing slow, her face bored. Jae-Min stepped closer. "You embarrassed me in front of my guests." "You're welcome," she said. His eyes flicked to the knife. "Most people beg at this point." "I'm not most people." A corner of his mouth lifted. "That's becoming obvious." He leaned in until their foreheads almost touched. "You don't fear me." She met his gaze without blinking. "Fear is for people who still hope they'll live forever." His smile disappeared. For a moment, the hallway felt colder. Then he stepped back. "Let her go!" The knife withdrew. Zara's muscles screamed for her to move, but she stayed still. He studied her like a puzzle he couldn't solve. "You're either very brave," he said, "or very stupid." She walked past him, brushing his shoulder on purpose. "Guess you'll find out." Behind her, she felt his gaze burn into her back. That was the night everything shifted. From then on, he started appearing near the bar more often. Not touching, not speaking, just watching, testing, waiting for her to crack. She didn't. They fought in words instead. Sharp, ruthless exchanges wrapped in flirtation and threat. Every conversation a chess move, every glance a challenge. One night, he said quietly, "If I wanted you dead, you'd already be gone." She smiled. "If you wanted me alive, you wouldn't be hovering like that." His eyes darkened with something unreadable. The plan was working. Too well. At least, that's what she told herself when she found her hands shaking after he left. What she told herself when she started listening for his footsteps without meaning to. What she told herself when his absence felt wrong. The mission clock was ticking, and neither of them could hear it. If Zara's dangerous game already has your heart racing, tap like, subscribe, and share right now. Because the deeper this story goes, the deadlier the truth becomes. And in the comments, answer this. Do you think she should kill him or spare him? Zara learned the rhythm of Kang Jae-Min's world faster than she wanted to. The guards who pretended not to see her. The cameras that stopped moving when she passed certain doors. The nights he stayed in the club until dawn, and the nights he vanished without warning. Power had a pattern, and patterns could be broken. He started sending drinks she never asked for. She never touched them. "Poisoned?" one of the other bartenders whispered nervously as she slid the glass aside. Zara didn't look at it. "If it were, I'd already be dead." The girl swallowed hard and walked away. Jae-Min watched this from his balcony, one arm resting casually on the railing. One of his men leaned in. "She's making you look soft." Jae-Min didn't blink. "No, she's making me curious." Curiosity was a dangerous thing for a man like him. The first time he touched her, it was accidental. The club was chaos that night. A fight broke out near the VIP section. Bottles shattered. People screamed. Zara moved fast behind the bar, ducking flying glass. A hand grabbed her wrist and yanked her sideways just as a chair smashed into the counter where she'd been standing. She collided with a solid chest. His. Jae-Min's arm wrapped around her instinctively, turning her body so his back took the impact of another flying bottle. Glass sliced across his shoulder. Blood soaked into his white shirt. For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. She was pressed against him. Too close. Her knife was strapped to her thigh. His heartbeat thudded steady beneath her ear. Not fast. Not afraid. She pulled away sharply. "You're bleeding." He glanced at his shoulder like it was nothing. "You should be thanking me. I didn't ask you to save me." His eyes locked onto hers. "You didn't have to." Sirens wailed in the distance. His men swarmed the room. The fight was already being erased. That night, he ordered her to his private lounge. The room was quiet, insulated from the noise outside. One couch, one low table, heavy shadows, 2 guards by the door. She stood in front of him, without sitting. "Why am I here?" she asked. He poured himself a drink one-handed, his shoulder freshly bandaged. "You almost died. So did half the room." He finally looked up. "Not because of me." Silence stretched between them. "You don't flinch when you see blood," he said. "You don't tremble when men threaten you, and you don't beg when knives touch your skin." She tilted her head. "You keep a checklist for women?" "For enemies," he corrected. Her pulse kicked once. "So what's the verdict?" He studied her like he was peeling away layers. "I don't know yet." That answer unsettled her more than an accusation would have. He dismissed her with a wave of his hand. Later that night, Zara stood alone in her apartment, pressing a blade against the scar beneath her ribs. A reminder of another failed mission. Another body that hadn't stayed dead. Her phone vibrated. A single message from the syndicate. "Window approaching. Do not hesitate." 2 nights later, the window opened. Jae-Min arrived at the club alone. No entourage, no visible weapons. Just him and the quiet confidence that only came from believing death couldn't touch you. Zara saw it immediately. Tonight was the night. She poured his usual drink with steady hands. When he leaned against the bar, their fingers brushed. Electricity snapped up her arm. "You're tense," he murmured. She slid the glass toward him. "You're late." He smiled faintly. "You noticed." An hour later, he followed her into the service corridor without a word. Her heartbeat pounded once. Twice. She led him through twisting hallways, past locked doors and humming generators, into the narrow stairwell that led to the rooftop. The city stretched wide and glittering above them. Wind whipped her hair across her face. This was it. She turned to face him. He stood a few feet away, hands loose at his sides. No guards, no weapon drawn. Just watching her with calm, unreadable eyes. "For a man with enemies," she said quietly, "you take foolish risks." "For a woman with secrets," he replied, "you're very confident." She reached into her jacket slowly. He didn't move. Her fingers closed around cold metal. The gun slid into her palm. She raised it. For the first time since the night her family died, everything went quiet inside her head. No rage, no screams, just him. She aimed at his chest, his heart. He didn't flinch. "Do it," he said. Her finger tightened. Her hands began to shake. Images crashed through her mind in violent waves. Her mother's eyes frozen open, her brother's blood on the floor, flames swallowing the ceiling. "Why are you hesitating?" he asked softly. She didn't answer. He took one slow step closer. The gun trembled harder. "You came here to kill me," he continued. "I can see it in you, so why haven't you?" Her breath hitched. "Stop." He stepped closer again. "This is your chance." Tears burned unexpectedly behind her eyes. She hated herself for it. "Stop," she repeated, her voice breaking. He stopped, close enough now that she could see the faint scar along his jaw. "You don't want my death," he said quietly. "You want relief." Her grip faltered. "And you won't find it in pulling that trigger." A tear slipped free. That was the moment she realized she was losing. She lowered the gun by inches. He moved fast then, too fast. He knocked the weapon from her hand and slammed her against the wall in one fluid motion. His forearm pinned her throat without crushing it. The gun skidded across the rooftop. Their faces were inches apart. "You came here to kill me," he said again, this time with steel in his voice. "Tell me why." She swallowed hard, fighting his grip. "Kill me first." Something flickered across his face. Anger, frustration, pain. He released her abruptly and stepped back. "Get out of my sight," he said. "Before I change my mind." She ran. 2 hours later, she collapsed onto her apartment floor, shaking violently. She had failed. The syndicate would not forgive failure. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She stared at it until it stopped. Then rang again. She answered. Jae-Min's voice filled her ear. "You had your chance." Her throat went dry. "And you had yours." "Yes," he said. I did. Silence. Then his voice lowered. And I still spared you. The line went dead. From that night on, everything changed. He didn't pretend anymore. Neither did she. From the moment she failed to pull the trigger, Zara felt the walls closing in, not from Kang Jae-Min, from the people who had made her what she was. The syndicate didn't warn twice. She noticed the first sign when she got home from the club and found her door slightly open. She always locked it. Always. Her hand hovered near the knife at her waist as she stepped inside. Nothing looked disturbed. That was worse. She moved through the apartment inch by inch. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, empty. Then she saw it. A black rose placed neatly on her pillow. Her blood turned cold. She crushed it in her fist and threw it away like it meant nothing. But her chest felt hollow. The syndicate was watching. They were reminding her who owned her life. Her phone buzzed 3 seconds later. You missed your shot, the voice said calmly. I had complications, Zara replied. You had orders. I'm still inside his world. I can still finish it. A pause. You have 3 days, the voice said, or we send someone who won't hesitate. The call ended. 3 days. Death had learned to count. That same night at Eclipse, the air felt wrong. Too quiet beneath the music. Too many unfamiliar faces. Too many eyes that didn't belong. Jae-Min noticed it too. Lock down the south corridor, he told one of his men quietly. Now! Zara was pouring drinks when the first shot rang out. The club erupted, screams drowned under the bass. Bodies surged toward the exits. Glass shattered. Zara dropped behind the counter as bullets tore through the liquor wall behind her. Jae-Min's men moved instantly, forming a living shield around him. He scanned the room once, then his gaze snapped straight to the bar. To her. Their eyes met through the chaos. He moved without hesitation. A bodyguard grabbed his arm. Boss! Jae-Min shoved him aside and stormed through the crowd as if the bullets were nothing more than rain. He vaulted the bar in one smooth motion and slammed into Zara, just as another round ripped through the space where her head had been. He dragged her down, covering her with his body as explosions shook the ceiling. She tried to push him off. What are you doing? Keeping you alive, he snapped. That was when she saw it. One of the shooters wasn't aiming at him. He was aiming at her. Her breath caught. The syndicate had sent someone. Jae-Min felt her stiffen. What did you see? They're not here for you, she whispered. His eyes narrowed. Then who are they here for? Before she could answer, the shooter vanished into the smoke. Minutes later, the club fell into a shattered silence. Blood on the floor. Glass everywhere. 3 bodies carried out. Jae-Min stood with Zara outside the private lounge, his hand still locked around her wrist like she might disappear if he let go. You're not leaving tonight, he said. That's not your choice. It is now. Inside the lounge, he shut the door and turned on her. Someone tried to kill you, he said flatly. Explain. She crossed her arms to hide the tremor in them. Welcome to my life. He stared at her. You brought enemies into my house. I didn't ask you to protect me. You didn't have to. There was that sentence again. She looked away. Let me go. No. You don't own me. His voice dropped. No, but someone does, and they just proved they're closer than I like. Silence pressed in hard between them. Who trained you? He asked. She didn't answer. Who ordered you here? He demanded. Still nothing. He stepped closer. If you don't tell me, I'll find out anyway. And when I do, the people you're protecting will die screaming. Her jaw tightened. Good, she said. Maybe they deserve it. That was the crack. His expression shifted. Not anger, recognition. Later that night, Zara stood on the rooftop alone again, staring at the city with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. You looked at that man like prey, a voice said from behind her. She spun, knife already raised. The woman smiled calmly. The glamorous one. the one who clung to Jae-Min's arm in public like she belonged there. "You're quick," the woman said. "I like that. What do you want?" "To warn you." She stepped closer. "You're running out of time." Zara's eyes narrowed. "How would you know that?" The woman's smile thinned. "Because everyone in the city is." She leaned in. "And because Kang Jae-Min doesn't survive the week." Before Zara could react, the woman walked away into the shadows, heels clicking calmly like death didn't interest her. From that moment on, everything started unraveling fast. Deals went wrong. Shipments vanished. Safe houses burned. One by one, Jae-Min's strongest operations were hit with military precision. And every time, the attack came minutes after private meetings. There was a leak. Zara confronted him after the third hit. "You have a traitor?" she said. "I know. And you're still hosting that woman at your side." His jaw tightened. "Watch your words." "I'm watching your blind spot," she shot back. He stared at her with something dangerously close to doubt. That was all it took. The glamorous woman struck 2 nights later. Police flooded the dockside warehouse during a high-level exchange. Sirens, helicopters, guns everywhere. Jae-Min barely escaped through the water with 2 men left alive. And standing on the pier, watching the chaos from a distance, was Zara. He found her an hour later, bleeding, furious. "You!" he snarled, slamming her into the wall of a storage building. "Every hit followed you. Every leak. Every ambush." She shoved him back. "You think I'd expose myself like that?" "I think you played me from the start." Her chest burned. "Then shoot me." He raised his gun. She didn't flinch. "Do it," she said through clenched teeth. "Prove you are never different from the rest." Their eyes locked. The world shrank to the space between the barrel and her heart. His finger trembled. Then the shot rang out. The bullet slammed into the wall beside her head. She sucked in a sharp breath. He lowered the gun slowly, rage and confusion tearing through his face. "I almost killed you," he said hoarsely. She stepped closer. "And you didn't." The words shattered something between them. He turned away violently. "Get out of my sight." She didn't move. "I said, you don't trust me," she said. "But you don't want me dead either, and that's your weakness." He spun back on her. "Don't mistake hesitation for mercy." "Then stop hesitating." For a moment, it looked like he might strike her. Instead, he grabbed her and crushed his mouth against hers. It wasn't gentle. It was rage and fear and desire all tangled together. She tried to push him away. Then she pulled him closer. When they broke apart, both of them were breathing hard. "This changes nothing," she said. "It changes everything," he replied. That night, the syndicate made its next move. Zara came home to flames. Her apartment was burning, and inside, pinned to the wall with a knife, was a photo of Jae-Min, with a single word written in blood beneath it. "Choose." The fire took everything. By morning, Zara stood across the street from the ruins of her apartment with ash in her hair and smoke still clinging to her clothes. Firefighters moved in slow, tired circles. Neighbors whispered. Police tape fluttered in the wind. Her life had been reduced to blackened beams and broken memories. She didn't cry. Crying was for people who still expected mercy. Her phone vibrated. A single text. "You have chosen." Her stomach twisted. "No," she whispered. "They have." She turned before she even thought about it and started walking. There was only one place she could go now. Only one person the syndicate would want her to run to. Eclipse. The club was on lockdown when she arrived. Armed guards at every entrance. Metal detectors. Tension thick enough to choke on. Inside, the air was quiet and loaded, like the moment before a storm breaks. She was halfway across the main floor when hands grabbed her from behind and wrenched her arms back. "Don't move," a guard growled. She didn't resist. Jae-Min was waiting in the private lounge. He stood with his back to her when they dragged her in and forced her to her knees. The door slammed shut. The guards remained inside. On the table in front of him lay a folder. He turned slowly. His eyes were dead. "You destroyed my house," he said. Her lips parted in shock. "What?" He gestured. The guard shoved the folder onto the floor in front of her. Photos spilled out. Blueprints, security routes, dock schedules, face shots of his men, all in her handwriting. Her breath caught. "That's not enough," he snapped. "They raided my West Armory at dawn. 12 men dead. Every access point they used matches what's in that folder." Her heart hammered violently. "You think I handed them this?" "Everything leads back to you," he said coldly. "And now your apartment conveniently burns the same night my operations collapse." She stared at him in disbelief. "They framed me." His jaw tightened. "You trained in deception? You live in lies? You want me to trust you now?" The door opened. The glamorous woman stepped inside. She looked shaken, pale, eyes red like she'd been crying. "Jae-Min?" Her voice broke softly. "The police found your offshore accounts. They're frozen. Someone tipped them." Zara's chest went cold. Jae-Min closed his eyes slowly, like the last thread of restraint had snapped. "Leave us!" he ordered the guards. They hesitated. "Now!" The room emptied. The glamorous woman turned to Zara, tears glistening. "Why would you do this?" Zara lunged to her feet. "You did this!" The woman recoiled as if struck. "I tried to protect you. I warned you to leave." Jae-Min stepped between them. "Enough." His gaze dropped to Zara with finality. "I gave you every chance," he said. "Every warning, every silence, and you still chose to betray me." Her eyes burned. "I chose to stay. That's not betrayal." He shook his head. "It's worse." He pulled out his gun. The sound of metal sliding against metal felt like a funeral bell. Zara lifted her chin. "If you're going to do it clean. No audience. No speeches." She waited. Seconds stretched. The glamorous woman gasped behind him. "Please, please don't make me watch this." Jae-Min didn't look back. "Get out." The woman hesitated, then fled the room. Zara and Jae-Min stood alone again. Just them. Like the rooftop. Like the first night. "You think killing me will end it?" Zara said quietly. "It won't. They'll keep coming. Because you're not their real target." He narrowed his eyes. "Then what am I?" "Bait." The gun wavered a fraction. "You don't know who's pulling the strings," she said. "But I do." He scoffed. "You expect me to believe you now?" "No," she said softly. "I expect you to survive." A tense beat passed. Then the windows exploded. Gunfire shredded through the room. Jae-Min tackled her to the floor as bullets tore into the walls. Smoke filled the air. Shouts erupted in the hallway. She saw the shooters. Not syndicate, not police. Professional, military clean. Someone far above both their worlds. They escaped through a hidden passage as eclipse burned behind them. For the second time, she ran with him instead of from him. They didn't stop until they reached an abandoned high-rise outside the city. Jae-Min paced the dark room like a caged animal. "You don't get framed that perfectly without help from inside my circle." She met his eyes. "Your glamorous shadow." His jaw clenched. "No," she added. "Not just her. Someone above both of us." He turned sharply. "Who?" She swallowed. "Your father." The word hit like a gunshot. His face went blank, then dark. "That's impossible." "He built the network that trained me," she said. "He ordered the massacre that created me. He used your name to hide it." Jae-Min staggered back a step, like the ground had shifted. "That's a lie." "You feel it, don't you?" she whispered. "That cold space in your chest where trust just died." Silence crushed the room. Finally, he laughed once, broken. "You expect me to believe the man who raised me wants me dead?" "He already tried," she said. "Tonight." His hands curled into fists. At that moment, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. A familiar voice filled the room. "Kang Jae-Min," the voice said calmly. "You always were slow to see the truth." The color drained from his face. "Father." I warned you not to keep stray dogs. The voice continued. Now you've brought one. Into my house? Zara felt ice crawl up her spine. You sent men to kill me, Jae-Min said. Yes, his father replied, and I will again. This time, I won't miss. The line went dead. Jae-Min lowered the phone slowly. For the first time since she met him, he looked like a man who had lost his world. I thought I had enemies, he said quietly. I was wrong. She stepped closer. You had a creator. Sirens wailed in the distance. He looked at her. They'll come for you first. She nodded. They already have. He exhaled slowly, then made his decision. Then I'm done running. He met her eyes with lethal clarity. We end him. They moved before dawn. No entourage, no witnesses, just two ghosts driving toward the man who had created both their nightmares. Rain slashed across the windshield as the city fell away behind them. Zara checked the magazine of her weapon for the 5th time. Jae-Min drove without speaking, jaw locked, eyes burning with a focus that felt colder than rage. You don't have to do this, she said quietly. He didn't look at her. Yes, I do. The compound rose out of the mist like a scar on the earth. High walls, armed guards, surveillance towers, a fortress built by a man who trusted no one, not even his blood. They cut the power first. Darkness swallowed the perimeter. Alarms hesitated, then screamed too late. Gunfire shattered the rain. They moved like they had trained together for years instead of weeks. Back to back, shot, reload, advance. Bodies fell into mud and shadow. Zara felt the old rhythm take over, the deadly calm that always came before the end of something important. Inside, the halls were white marble and blood. They reached the inner chamber as explosions rocked the compound. He was waiting. Kang Seung-ho stood by the fire, hands folded behind his back, dressed like a king welcoming executioners. Older now, silver at the temples, the same cold eyes as his son. I wondered how long it would take, he said. Zara raised her gun. Jae-Min didn't. Why? Jae-Min asked. His father smiled slightly. Because you were becoming weak. Silence cut deeper than any blade. You taught me everything, Jae-Min said. You built this empire with me. I built it alone, Seung-ho replied. You inherited it, and then you endangered it by loving the wrong woman. His eyes slid to Zara like she was something dragged in from the street. You slaughtered her family, Jae-Min said, his voice breaking for the first time. Seung-ho shrugged. Collateral damage. Her bloodline financed a rival syndicate. I erased it. Zara's vision blurred red. You murdered children. Yes, he said calmly. And it made you powerful. You should be thanking me. Jae-Min stepped forward. You used my name to hide it. Of course, his father replied. Kings don't dirty their own hands. The truth detonated through the room. Zara screamed and fired. The bullet tore through Seung-ho's shoulder, spinning him into the fire. He roared in pain, but didn't fall. Guards flooded in. The room exploded into chaos. Jae-Min dragged Zara behind a pillar as bullets ripped through stone. She fired blindly. Screams echoed. Smoke crushed the air from their lungs. Seung-ho emerged again, blood soaking his suit, fury replacing smug control. You think killing me ends this? He shouted. My network will erase you both! Jae-Min stepped into the open. A gunshot cracked. Zara saw the impact before she heard it. The bullet slammed into Jae-Min's chest. Time shattered. He staggered back into her arms, blood spreading fast across his shirt. No! She screamed. She laid him down as the room burned around them. He looked impossibly calm. You still didn't kill me, he whispered faintly. Tears streamed down her face. Don't you dare die now. Seung-ho raised his weapon again. Zara turned and fired without hesitation. The final bullet struck him between the eyes. The man who had built their hell collapsed into the flames. Outside, the compound erupted in fire and sirens. Police, syndicate, chaos swallowing itself whole. Zara dragged Jae-Min through smoke and collapsing corridors, out into the rain as the fortress burned behind them. His blood soaked her clothes. "Stay with me," she begged. "You don't get to leave me now." He coughed weakly. "You were supposed to kill me first." She laughed through her tears. "I failed." "That was your best decision." They reached the edge of the road as sirens closed in from every direction. Zara pressed her forehead to his. "If you die, I burn the world for you." His lips curved faintly. "You already did." His eyes slipped shut. She screamed his name into the rain. The world believed Kang Jae-Min died that morning. They found his blood at the ruins. His enemies celebrated. His empire collapsed into warring fragments within weeks. Zara disappeared. No body, no record, no trail. Just a ghost story whispered through criminal networks like a curse. 1 year later, rain fell softly on a quiet shoreline far from Seoul. A small bar opened its doors at sunset. No neon, no guns, just low light, music, and the sound of waves beyond the windows. Behind the counter stood a woman with familiar eyes and a new name. Zara placed a glass down in front of the only customer at the bar. A man with a faint scar along his jaw and a slower, steadier breath than before. "You're late," she said. He smiled softly. "Old habit." She touched the place beneath her ribs where a scar still burned. "They still think you're dead." "Good." She studied him. "And if they ever find you?" His eyes lifted to hers. "Then we run again." She reached for his hand. He took it. "And if we get tired of running?" she asked. He leaned closer. "Then we make our own hell. Together." Outside, the waves erased their footprints as fast as they made them. But some legends were never meant to stay buried. If this story shook you, moved you, or made you feel that dangerous kind of love, show Zara some support. Like the video, subscribe for the next chapter, share this with someone who loves dark romance, and drop a comment. Was this love worth all that blood? Your answer decides what kind of ending comes next.